So it's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Swedish heavyweight Otto Wallin. Otto, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good. We haven't seen
Nice.
you in the ring since last December. A much needed break, I imagine. Fight with Anthony Joshua, I know, obviously didn't go your way, unfortunately. How do you reflect on that now and lessons learned, perhaps?
For sure, lessons learned. It was a tough loss for me. I felt like I was gonna win the fight going into it. I was confident and I felt good, and it didn't play out the way I wanted to. And he was very good. And now looking back at the fight, I see there's things that I need to work on, need to get better on. So I think all in all, I'm just gonna get better from it and learn from it. And that's how I like to deal with this loss.
And what's the key things or thing that you've learned from that defeat? What are you going to do differently going forward?
I think first and foremost, it's good to get on that level, to get that experience, fighting the top guys. And then there's some things that I didn't do so well in there that I should have been doing better. Uh, my defense, my offense, it should have been better. And I don't want to give too much away, but
Sure.
there's definitely things that I see that I should be able to do better, and that I've been working on.
With that in mind, crucially, when should we expect to see you back in the ring?
I think I'm gonna fight late July here in the US. Get a comeback fight, so that would be good. We're working on that.
Excellent news. Now, before we talk about this weekend's big fights, particularly the heavyweights, of course, since we last spoke, we've seen an undisputed world heavyweight champion being crowned. Um, I find it hard to remember who predicted who would win, but I think you went for Fury. Correct me if I'm wrong. Very close fight as it turned out. What did you make of how it unfolded?
Well, I want to say now that I predicted Usyk, but
Yeah,
it's not the truth.
I won't look
But
back.
yeah, yeah, no, I said that. I felt like it was gonna be a very tough fight, and I thought it was gonna be close fight. But I felt like Fury was gonna win on points. But it was an amazing fight. It was a close fight. I think Usyk deserved it in the end. Yeah, it looked like Usyk had a good first round, I think, and then kind of Fury was taking over the fight, and it looked like he was gonna run away with it pretty comfortably. But then Usyk just came back. He just uh, kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if he broke Fury's nose and then had him badly hurt. So it was a great fight and great for boxing. It's nice to see an undisputed champion.
And we found out earlier today that the rematch, well, it may not be undisputed too. We wait to see which belts are actually on the line. But it's set for December the 21st, back in Riyadh. Later than we thought, because Tyson said immediately after the fight, let's run it back in October. But it's now December. Should give any injuries time to heal and both teams to work out where they went wrong, perhaps. What do you see changing, if anything, in that rematch?
Ooh, it's tough to say. I think that Fury looked really good in that fight. I think he looked like he was at his best, and same with Usyk. So, so it will be interesting. I think that both guys are gonna learn from it and probably get better. And I think that, if Fury didn't get hurt like that, I think that he would have won the fight. But he did get hurt, and Usyk did it, and he deserved it. So it's not much you can say about it. But it will be interesting. It's probably got to be more of the same. Maybe Fury targeting the body more of Usyk. That was working for him, and Usyk. Yeah, I don't know. It would be really interesting to see the rematch because I thought that this fight was really close, and obviously it was. Usyk won by 1 point, I think. So
Yeah.
uh, the rematch is going to be interesting, and I think it could go either way.
Well, you've got a chance here to make amends for the first prediction. Who, if you had to pick, who would you go for in the rematch?
You know what? I kind of want to say Fury again,
Okay.
but it's a long time until then, so a lot can change.
All right, fair enough. And then this weekend, we've got two big heavyweight fights as part of the 5 versus 5. Frank Warren against Eddie Hearn team concept, if you like, also in Riyadh, of course. And we'll start with what some people are calling the main event. We don't know yet who's going to go on last, but that's Deontay Wilder and Zhilei Zhang. Both, strangely, given it is such a big fight, coming off defeats to the same man in Joseph Parker. We hope he gets his shot sometime soon. What do you make of Wilder against Zhang?
I think it's a good fight. Probably be a close fight, but I think with Wilder, what probably hurt him a lot in his last fight was that he has been so inactive. So hopefully now, when he's had a fight, 12 rounds with Parker, that he come back and look better. And if he does, I think he can. I think he can knock Zhang out. But Zhang is also dangerous, and if he lands on Wilder and can take it to Wilder, then Zhang can win. But if I would have to pick someone, I'd probably go with Wilder.
Okay. And then the other heavyweight fight on the show, there's a lot at stake. So it could be for the IBF title. It could be for an interim version of the IBF title. It could just be for the IBF #1 spot. But what a lot of people are saying is that it's effectively a box off to face Anthony Joshua at Wembley in September also. What do you make of Filip Hrgovic against Daniel Dubois?
That's also a very good fight, and I'm happy we get to see that. Of course, it's really great that they're making these fights, because we would never see that 2 years ago, we would never see this fight. So I think it's great. And I think it's another tough fight. Could go either way. Hrgovic is talking about Dubois being weak mentally and wanting to quit. But I got to say that, Dubois is a tough guy. He had a tough fight with Joyce, of course. Bad injury. Then with Usyk. It was a tough loss, of course, but he's come back, and got to look at Hrgovic also. He's a good fighter, but there's been moments in there where he looked like he wanted to quit. With Zhang, and he turned his back a few times, which was very strange. So we see. Dubois, he's a good puncher, and he throws a lot of shots. So it's going to be very interesting. Hrgovic want to keep it outside, of course. So see if Daniel can get close to him to land those shots. But I'm almost leaning towards Dubois in that fight.
Wow. And talking of that, as we've said, it could be an eliminator, if you like, to face Anthony Joshua at Wembley, which, for some fighters financially will be more important than a world title with the money at stake. Do you see either Hrgovic or Dubois giving Joshua problems? And is there one that suits him better?
That's a good question. I think that Joshua would obviously be, I think, a big favorite in both fights. But I don't know. I don't think it really matters who it is, to be honest. But it could be good fights.
But you'd fancy Joshua against either of those guys? I don't want to put words into your mouth.
Yeah, no, I do. I think that Joshua will be a big favorite against both of those guys. But there's big guys, and anything could happen.
And you look at the heavyweight shake-up now, and heavyweight seems to be getting out a lot more regularly thanks to what's going on in Saudi. Are we going to see you in Saudi anytime soon? And is there anyone on your hit list for such a fixture?
I hope so. I really want to go back there. And yeah, thinking about names, Dillian White maybe. Who else? I think there's a lot of good fights out there. But Dillian White, we have some history. He pulled out of our fight a few years back, so would be good to finally beat him and fight him and beat him.
And talking of British heavyweights, a fight was recently announced, not for Saudi Arabia. It's kind of a nice thing that we get some in the UK as well. Joyce against Dereck Chisora, both veterans, both a few miles on the clock, I think it's fair to say. There's been some criticism regarding whether either or both guys should still be fighting. I think tickets are going to sell incredibly well, which is a tick in one column. What do you make of that fight?
I'll be honest. I don't like Chisora. He was very disrespectful to me over in Saudi Arabia, and I don't like him. So I think that, not just judging from that, I think that Joyce beats him and probably stops him. We'll see. Joyce, he had those tough losses against
Zhang.
Yeah, of course. But to say that he should just retired from those two fights, I don't think it's fair. So we'll see how he comes back now, how he looks. He takes a lot of shots, so he's got to be careful. But I think he would get rid of Chisora.
What was Chisora's issue with you in Saudi Arabia?
I don't know. You know how he is. He was at the press conference with over in London. He was yelling at Parker and being very disrespectful to him, and kind of did similar stuff to me backstage in Saudi Arabia. So I can't really stand him, to be honest. I was over there sparred him when he was gonna fight Fury, and he only lasted like a week. Then I was sent home. But you know, I don't know. I can't stand him really.
Fair enough.
No.
How aware are you of the respective quintets that Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn have got on Saturday night, aside from the heavyweights?
Excuse me?
How aware are you of the other competitors in the Warren against Hearn competition on Saturday, aside from the heavyweights?
Not much. I usually keep good track of the heavyweights, but other than that, it's not too much. Maybe a little bit cruiserweight, but other than that, I watch the big fights and stuff like that. But I gotta say, I mean, I'm wondering about Bivol, if he's the main event or not, because he's one of the best out there, pound for pound fighters, but he's kind of in the dark on this one.
Is there a concern, do you think, on Bivol's side that he was gearing up for an undisputed fight against his massive rival in Beterbiev? Beterbiev got injured, of course, and now he's got to fight someone who's still dangerous in Malik Zinad, but not the person he was expecting.
I don't know this guy, Malik Zinad, to be honest. I've never seen him fight, so it's hard to say. But I think they've had enough time to adjust to this guy, Bivol, and he's a smart guy, good fighter, good defense. So I think he'll be fine.
Good stuff. Otto, really appreciate your time as always. Look forward to seeing you back in the ring sooner rather than later. So maybe when you've got a date in the diary, we should do this again.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.